Well, welcome everybody to the Osterville Library. We're so excited you're here on this beautiful day. And as always, Anke, it's so nice to get to know her through the years and how she continues to learn and grow and educate herself and help and give back to the community. And this is another great way that she's doing it, besides recycling clothes and making them available to people at reasonable prices, which you mentioned. But, you know, good nutrition and taking care of yourself and how we can always learn more and never stop learning. And this is such a great opportunity to learn about plant-based food. So I'm so excited to turn it over to you. And these are recorded, so if you forgot something, you can check afterwards on our YouTube channel, and all of these will be available, so you can check any information that you might have missed. So Anke, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for coming. I have brought some food today because today's talk is going to be all about macros and the actual food, because we can talk about the science and the why and the health benefits all day long. We did a little bit of that in the first talk, but really when it comes down to it, I think it's helpful to know, what am I having for breakfast? You know, what am I having for lunch? How am I preparing my food for the week? How am I making it easy for myself to eat this way? So just a quick recap for those of you who weren't at the first talk. We talked about the difference between vegan and processed plant-based versus whole food plant-based, which is what I strive for. There are a lot of documentaries that you can watch. I don't know if anyone had a chance to watch one since the first talk, but there's some great ones out there like Forks Over Knives that explain the difference between eating unprocessed whole foods in their kind of natural form. I mean, you can cook them, they don't have to be raw, but the difference between a whole food plant-based diet and the processed vegan foods that we're seeing, you know, in the marketplace now. And the food industry is smart. They're trying to cash in on this whole new plant-based popular way of eating, which is great. You know, it's still a little bit better for you than the, you know, the cholesterol and the saturated fat and the animal foods. But, you know, like we're talking things like Impossible burgers and vegan cheeses and sour creams and things. And it's nice to have some of those, we call them transitioning foods. You know, if you're trying to make a change from the regular, you know, the old, you know, what we call the SAD diet, standard American diet, to plant-based. You know, if you really miss the meat and it's hard for you, then by all means go ahead and try the Impossible burger, but they're loaded with sodium and additives and weird, like isolated soy and pea kind of processed foods. So, you know, make a veggie burger with black beans and sweet potato and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so there is a big difference between plant-based processed food and whole food plant-based, which is what I am, like I'm saying, like I and many people on the planet are striving towards, because there are just so many health benefits, and you're getting all the fiber and all the phytonutrients when you eat the whole plant rather than, you know, the processed derivative. So today we are going to talk a little bit about macros. Who knows what the three food groups are, the three main food macros? Protein, right? Carbs and fat. Okay, very good. Okay, so we'll go to the first slide. Okay, so carbs are in our society popularly vilified, you know, as being fattening and bad for you. But actually, on the whole food plant-based diet, you are going to get 70 to 80% of your daily calorie intake from carbohydrates. Now, we're not talking pastries and muffins and white bread. We're talking whole grains, potatoes, sweet potatoes, you know, the farros, you know, all those wonderful whole grains. And also there are a lot of carbs in fruit and vegetables. But again, we're eating those in their whole form, with the skin, with all the phytonutrients, with all the antioxidants. Okay, so carbs are basically where our bodies get all their fuel and energy from. So if you're on a high, you know, animal protein diet, you're getting primarily like animal protein, which we talked a little bit about last week, and fats, and you're not getting the carbs and the fiber that your body needs, you know, to function in a healthy way. And protein actually cannot get to the brain. We talked about that a little bit last time. There is actually like a barrier, like your brain needs, you know, carbs and sugars in order to function. So getting, you know, your fuel and your energy from carbs is kind of the way forward. It's what the body likes. We do obviously need protein for muscle repair, for all these functions here, immune functions, cell membrane. So we do need protein, but we can get all the protein we need from plants without the cholesterol and the saturated fat, but with all the fiber and phytonutrients. So it's kind of a win-win to get your protein from plants. And there are many, many ways to do this. And we really don't need as much protein as we are led to believe by the fitness industry, by all sorts of different lobbies. So we can get plenty of protein from any kind of beans, lentils, oats, soy, tofu. I love edamame, that's my favorite plant protein. I love edamame. And actually soy, which has also been maligned, probably financed by the dairy industry. Edamame in its natural form, and even tofu, which is mildly processed, actually has cancer fighting and estrogen blocking properties, which is especially good for women to prevent and also heal from breast cancer. Edamame and soy are actually really good, non-GMO. So, I shop at Trader Joe's. Everything there with a Trader Joe's name is non-GMO, or you can buy organic. Quinoa is great for protein. So there are a lot of sources of plant protein which are packed with other nutrients that are benefiting your body and are not going to give you that cholesterol plaque buildup that you're getting from animal protein. And then we also need a little bit of fat every day. And in the plant world, we get this from nuts, seeds, avocados, but only about 10% a day. So that's like my big temptations. I love nuts and seeds, so I'm probably overdoing it a little bit, but they are packed with great minerals and nutrients. So I need to get into the habit of just sprinkling them on my salad rather than eating them by the handful, because we don't need that much fat in our diet. Okay. Do we have any questions about the macros?
So olive oil is not on there, but that would go with the nuts and seeds because it's an olive and that's a plant.
Well, olives are whole foods, but I'm coming to this in one of the next slides. So in the whole food plant-based community, we try to cut out oil completely, even olive oil, because it's considered a processed food, because it is just the fat squeezed out of the olive. So it's fat, and it's you can eat a couple of olives a day and you'll get the benefit, but just the fat, and it's very caloric. I mean, the density is crazy. Many of us are trying to kind of, not necessarily put on weight, and olive oil is just packed with calories, and you get the benefit if you just eat a couple of olives. Don't need to eat the olive oil. Yes.
So one way you explained it to me before is that if you look at your olive oil bottle or your oil bottle and it's like really sticky around it,
Right.
you can imagine that stickiness like being
Right.
And when you're eating the whole olive, you're getting the fiber along that, which is one of the goals of this diet. And I don't know, one of the goals of this diet is to increase your fiber, because in your diet we're sadly lacking fiber levels.
Correct.
The oil is behind the fiber and it creates a stickiness that can be popular.
So that also applies to safflower oil and all
Oils. Yeah.
She's gonna talk about oils.
I will talk about it a bit more, but also Jean Schumacher, I don't know if anyone came to Jean's talks last year. She actually had a visual on, it was like a video of what oil does to your blood vessels, and then the blood actually sludges your blood, even olive oil. I mean, there's plenty of research on this. Okay, so any other questions on the macros? Okay, we'll talk more about this. Okay, so this is just I wanted to make a pie chart for the distribution of like carbs, fat, protein, and then I just found there is so much great information out there if you just type in, plant-based food chart, plant-based sources of magnesium, plant-based sources of this, like all these common myths that you can't get all the nutrients you need from plants. They're not true. You can get everything you need from a plant-based diet. And as you can see, this is sort of the idea of like a plate distribution. So, you get your complex carbs from whole grains. Sweet potatoes are excellent, even better than white potatoes. And again, it goes back to that, the darker the color, the stronger the color, the more antioxidants and phytonutrients there are going to be in that particular plant. Purple potatoes, purple sweet potatoes, I think are really good as well. And then your beans, chickpeas, tofus, lentils are amazing. I mean, they're in the legume family, but they have special properties. And again, Dr. Rudy talks about these in his book, especially for breast cancer. For the ladies out there, lentils are fabulous. So there are the healthy fats, the avocado, chia seeds, and almonds. And then just as much fruit and veg. And what we talked about last time as well is that it's not just about eating more fruits and vegetables, it's about variety. So you want to try and, add as much variety as possible. Seasonal vegetables, organic when possible, frozen is fine. Frozen fruit and veg retain all their nutrients. So however you want to just add more vegetables to your diet, just go for it. And especially leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables are kind of the real kind of big hitters. But, we're trying not to kind of pick out, a superfood and this and that. It's really about kind of the symphony and just the harmony of all these foods and nutrients working together.
That's a quick
Yes.
question. Okay, I've often wondered, and I don't know the answer, chia seeds.
Yes,
And I actually love the taste of chia seeds. and
okay.
I use them on a daily basis, but
Okay.
I often wonder if I'm using too much. Is there a particular rationale, or is it just in moderation,
Well,
common sense?
Again, I mean, this is something I kind of asked my friend, Dr. Guevara, about, amounts. And he said, try not to look at what you're eating like day to day and try and look at it kind of over the course of the week, over the course of the month. You don't have to, the nice thing about this way of eating is that you don't really have to measure things so much. You just kind of have this, guide in your head about, okay, I'm getting kind of this proportion from grains and, for my protein, for my beans, and just add more fruit and veg to everything. But seeds, I mean, chia seeds, they're great for you. I mean, I don't know what kind of amounts we're talking. I think just use common sense. Just like don't eat like a mountain of one thing a day, but like in your oatmeal, or a lot of people like to make overnight oats with chia seeds because they make it kind of a sticky consistency. I personally don't like that. I like them dry. I toast them with my granola. But yeah, the general rule is just nuts and seeds about 10%-ish, but you don't have to be exact.
All right, but in that vicinity.
In that vicinity, but it's good that you enjoy them. I've never really tasted a chia seed, but so this is kind of very similar. So I'm just going to point out this is and my one of my favorites is Dr. Greger, who wrote this How Not to Die, and he has this thing called the Daily Dozen. And again, this is just a guideline, and I print this out, and I've had it on my kitchen wall for 3 years, just to remind me the certain things like he try and eat a big variety, but there are a few things that he does highlight that are really especially packed with health benefits. Beans at the top of the list. So he does 3 servings of beans in it. That could be lentils, it could be hummus, it could be in a dip. You can make some vegetable chili with different beans. You can buy those bags of, 15 kinds of different beans. Take out the ham flavoring packet that some of them have, and just cook those, slow cooker overnight, and then you just throw, onions and garlic and, peppers and tomatoes and whatever spices you like. There's just a lot of different ways to cook with beans. Fruits, and he does highlight berries, because berries have really phenomenal antioxidant power. And again, you don't have to buy those fresh, they're a little bit pricey here, but you can buy, mixed bags of frozen berries, you can make smoothies, you can put them on your oatmeal, you can make a dessert with them. Lots of great things to do with berries. And cruciferous veg and greens each get their own mention on the Daily Dozen, because they're just so incredibly important and good for you, and especially for women with breast cancer. Cruciferous veg is it's a powerhouse. And that includes, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, all of those great things. And he also highlights flaxseed because of these things called lignans, which have unbelievable cancer-fighting properties. And it's also good for lower cholesterol. I mean, again, none of these things have just one benefit. They all have like multiple, wonderful health benefits. Flaxseed nuts, but again, like a small portion. Grains, spices and herbs are really important as well, and they're packed with nutrients, and like turmeric, I think we'll talk about later. But a lot of those spices that I always just used to add for flavor actually also have amazing health benefits, and have fresh herbs as well, which have been used, you know, for millennia, you know, medicinally. Oh, okay. Who wears my new t-shirt? Plants are the best medicine. There we go. So yes, herbs and spices have amazing medicinal properties. And then he also includes exercise and beverages like hydration and just moving every day, whether that's going for a walk. He recommends 90 minutes of moderate exercise or, you know, 20-30 minutes of more high intensity exercise. So whatever you need to do to move your body. And also the Netflix series, who has seen the Netflix series about the blue zones?
I didn't hear about what?
About the blue zones. I
Oh, yes,
believe
that's
it's called How to Live to 100 with Dan Buettner, who's the chap who discovered this, you know, the commonality running through these areas in the world, these pockets where people are living to 100 and beyond, you know, active, you know, mentally, physically, and you know, daily activity is one of the common denominators. And it doesn't, they're not all going to the gym. You know, they live in little, you know, rustic rural places. They're just walking to church. They're walking, you know, to visit their friends. They're, you know, growing their own vegetables. So it's not super realistic for all of us, you know, in cities and things, but just a little bit of moderate exercise is definitely one of the things, in addition to a heavily plant-based diet, which is what they're all doing as well. So this is just another chart. So again, I just typed in, you know, plant-based eating chart, and there's just a lot of great information there. And then, okay, so it mentions, as we were saying before, there are a lot of plant-based processed foods hitting the market at the moment. And I actually brought some non-dairy yogurt. I found my favorite kind. It's called Kite Hill, and it's a Greek style one. It's not as gelatinous as, I don't like the consistency of a lot of the plant-based yogurts, but this one I like, and you put a little bit on the chickpea stew. So, you know, but this doesn't look like meals, right? This is just ingredients. So I'm going to be showing you how to actually, how to incorporate more and more of these whole foods and vegetables and grains and seeds into your food. So here we go. This one has the protein a little bit higher, but as you can see, like a lot of your daily calorie intake is coming from whole grain starches and fruits and vegetables. Okay, so if you are interested in, we have a few people here who have already made the transition, but if you're interested in just adding more fruits and vegetables and whole grains to your diet, it's really fun going shopping. You can print off, again, you can just Google, you know, plant-based shopping list or pantry list, and all these amazing lists will pop up. So some things that I always have in my pantry at home, I love oats for breakfast. It's one of the best things you can have for breakfast, and there are 100 different ways to prepare your oats. I have it with fruit. You can prepare them overnight. Overnight oats are very popular. It's a great nutritional punch. Whole wheat pasta, but also if you're gluten intolerant, there are some great new chickpea pastas out there now at all the main supermarkets, and also Trader Joe's actually has a yellow lentil and brown rice spaghetti. It's my new favorite. The consistency is really nice. It doesn't get mushy like some of the chickpea pastas, but you know, trial and error. Just try one of the whole grain or chickpea pastas out there, many different brands. Brown rice, there's also purple rice, a really dark rice, which is great. Quinoa, which I brought today for the chickpea stew, and farro is my new favorite. It's a really nice kind of nutty, it's just a nice alternative to rice. But all of those grains and rices and quinoas are all fantastic. And then lentils, beans, and chickpeas, and you can sort of find your favorite. I happen to love chickpeas. They're my favorite. I don't know if it's the shape or the texture, I don't know, just find your favorite. And lentils. I grew up eating lentils. My mom, the Germans, used to make this lentil soup with onions and carrots and celery, and it was just like my comfort food. And in Germany, we eat it with vinegar. It gives it a really nice kind of tanginess. So I always load mine with apple cider vinegar. But you can eat that just as a soup, or you could put it over rice or quinoa, you know, depending on what kind of a sturdy meal you want. But that's really filling and very satisfying because there's lots of nice plant protein and fiber. That's the other great benefit of eating this way, is that you're kind of naturally regulating your calorie intake because it's so filling. Do you find this when you eat? I mean, it's like all this whole grain and plant fiber. It's very, very filling, and like you can eat quite a nice volume of like salads. And when you want to cook your kale, I like raw kale like as a salad. But you can, if you cook kale or spinach down, it kind of melts into a small amount, so you can eat quite a big volume of it. And I like to make it with garlic and ginger and soy sauce and all those sort of things. Okay, so seeds, chia seeds, flax, where I incorporate flax into my cereal or oatmeal in the morning. You can also just throw it on a salad. You can throw it into a stew. So Dr. Drager just recommends just a tablespoon of flax every day, where you can throw it into a smoothie. I mean, there's 100 ways to do it. Yes.
We put it in a salt shaker on the table.
Wow,
Yes.
Oh.
that's a great idea. Yeah. Like as a condiment, really. Yeah, you can just add it to anything.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. I'm going to do that, because I have mine in the fridge and I always pull it out in the mornings and I put it on my oats or my cereal, whatever, but I like that idea. That's great. So hemp seeds are another great one. I mean, lots of nice, clean, plant-based protein. I don't make smoothies a lot, but when I do, I throw some hemp seeds in there. Nuts, almond butter. Trader Joe's have a raw almond butter. The only ingredient is almonds. There's no salt, there's no oil, sugar added, nothing. So, and the price is right. But you can get there's hundreds of different nut butters at Whole Foods and at the stores. Just when you're buying nut butter, just look out for added salt or sugar. If you get like the mainstream brands, they've got weird or unhealthy things added to them. So try and find one with the fewest ingredients, and that kind of runs true for any food you're buying, that's packaged. Just look at the label. And actually Jean, who did the previous talk, said she had a whole class on label reading. Because there are a lot of even things that look good on the front, they'll say, "Ooh, plant protein," and this and that. You look at the label and a lot of them are loaded with sodiums or sugars and additives, and there are so many different names for sugars out there, so they hide. The food industry is kind of tricking us into thinking things are healthy when actually they're loaded with things that are not that good for us. So I love dried fruit, especially for travel. I would have a bag of dried mango in my car, and dates. I love dates. That's my new favorite dessert. And again, yes, there's sugar in it, but the way that nature packages it, the fiber and all the other nutrients in there are basically not going to spike your blood sugar. They're much lower glycemic index when they come in the form of a whole fruit. You can eat as much fruit as you want. Plant milk, again, this market has exploded. There are so many different choices for plant milks in the supermarkets, and a lot of them are flavored or they have sugar added and all sorts of weird oils added. So again, try to find a brand that has the fewest additives. And I have found oat milk that is literally just oats and water. You can make your own. I'm not quite there yet. I'm a little bit lazy, I'll go buy it, but you can also buy the long life ones. You don't have to get it from the refrigerator section, but you can do soy, hemp, oat, almond, all of those different milks, plenty of different options. Yep.
What is the brand of the one that's just fruits?
I feel like I'm like pushing Trader Joe's, but I happen to have found it at Trader Joe's. It's just called Oat Beverage. There's a flavored one and there's a plain one.
And it's
Just oats and water. And they used to have a hemp one that was just hemp seed and water, maybe a pinch of salt, but that's been discontinued.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't.
Whole Foods has almond milk. It's Califia, but it's organic, and
Okay.
it only has 3 ingredients.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what I use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the milk brand.
Okay.
Also at Whole Foods. It's just almond and
Okay.
but it's more expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious.
I mean, there's another one that I'm trying to remember the name. I think it begins with W. So I'm on this Facebook group. So Forks Over Knives was kind of one of the first big popular documentaries that came out, and they have a phenomenal website with tons of great recipes. It's all whole food about oil and salt. And they have a magazine as well.
and a Facebook.
So I was gonna say the Facebook group, I think it has over 300,000 people in it internationally. It's amazing. But there are a lot of great tips on there. People share recipes, they share their stories, like healing from illnesses. You can go on there and ask any questions. It's great. And if you had a question about which specific milk or whatever, instead of Googling it, you could just ask it in that group, because there are some real like purists in there and they know that stuff. So there are definitely some great options. But again, you know, any plant milk is going to be better for you than the dairy alternative. You know, so you can just find one you like, basically. Whatever you're going to consume is better for you than the dairy alternative. Spices. Yeah, I have a huge selection of spices at home. I love the Atlantic Spice Company up in Truro, so whenever I'm in P-Town, I always stop at the Atlantic Spice Company on the way home. You know, I mean, there are differences in quality. There is some type of, bless you, I think it's Ceylon cinnamon, is that the name of it? Ceylon cinnamon is supposed to be the best kind of cinnamon, you know, but again, you know, and any use of these spices is good for you. I mean, ginger and garlic have phenomenal health benefits as well as tasting delicious. So I add garlic and onions to every stew I make. That's my starting point. It's always garlic and onion. That whole family, bless you, the whole garlic and onion family, it is like a nutritional powerhouse. It's great, like anti-cancer and just so good. So the more garlic and onion, the better. Ginger as well, anti-inflammatory, as is turmeric. And these spices have been used, you know, for millennia as you know, for their health benefits. Black pepper helps to activate. I was reading about this yesterday. The nutrition facts. Dr. Greger just came out with some information about this. How when you eat turmeric, the anti-inflammatory benefits are heightened if you add just even a pinch of black pepper. It just helps to activate the chili. There's a lot of scientific research behind this. I just believe in, because I like black pepper anyway, so I just throw it in. Yes.
I think it activates certain enzyme properties in the turmeric, so to make it more bioavailable.
Bioavailability, yes.
My shaker, my turmeric shaker, I add the black.
Already added the pepper, yeah.
When I don't have to do too much at once.
Perfect, see, yeah, and I just have them next to each other in my spice rack, and I tend to cook, you know, very freely. I kind of just throw, people always ask me for recipes, I'm like, well, I started with a recipe, and then I just kind of I always throw in more black pepper than the recipe calls for, because I love it. I like spice and flavor and all those things, and it's so easy to add flavor to, you know, technically bland foods like tofu and beans by just adding loads of great spices, which again, you know, have multiple health benefits. So condiments, maple syrup is vegan. Date syrup is my new favorite condiment, and I put it on my oats. I put it on, you know, all sorts of desserts. You can use it as a sweetener in baking. And it's, you know, again, 100% dates. That's the ingredients. There's no weird additives. Tahini is a paste. It's very popular in the Middle East. It's basically just sesame seeds. And when you buy it, you will see it has a lot of oil sitting on the top. That's just the natural oil that's come out of the seeds. You can either mix it in or pour it off, depending on how much oil you're needing that day. Soy sauce, yes, there's kind of a sodium concern if you have issues with blood pressure, but there is low sodium soy sauce, and there's also an alternative called coconut aminos, which is just an alternative to soy sauce, lower sodium. Salsa is great. People always say, well, what can I put on my baked potato? Well, you can put veggie chili, you can put salsa, you know, you can make it spicy, you can add cucumber and cilantro, and just, you know, you can have a lot of fun with something like mango salsa and 100 different kinds of salsa. Vinegar. So, you know, I've tried to cut out oil in the last couple of years. So people say, well, what do you put on your salads? So I eat salad every day. Vinegar and lime juice. So lime juice helps your body absorb nutrients from all the dark green leafy veg. So lemon or lime juice, always add a little squirt of lemon or lime. And I was doing that anyway, just for the flavor, but it actually helps with, it's like your body sometimes just knows what it needs. And it helps to release it helps with the iron absorption, I believe, from the dark leafy green vegetables. But vinegar, again, not only good for you, it tastes great, and I love balsamic vinegar, and I love that you can get that thick balsamic glaze And I just pour that over my salad and then some lime juice, or you can make a dressing with hummus or tahini, and maple syrup if you like a little sweet in your salad dressing, and tons of herbs and some nuts, and it's all good. Delicious. Just keep adding things that make it healthier, you know. Nutritional yeast, also known as nooch in the community. It's a cute little nickname for it. Nutritional yeast. It's little yellow flakes. And it tastes almost a little cheesy, kind of nutty cheesy. And you use it in a lot of sauces. So I make a pesto, a plant-based pesto. So instead of oil and parmesan, thank you, I use cashews. I soak cashews. And I add nutritional yeast, also a little mustard, I think maybe. Am I thinking about the right thing? Maybe, yeah, lemon juice and any herbs you want. You can use arugula, you can use basil. Anyway, there's 100 different ways to make yummy pesto, bright green, and just oil-free and cheese-free. And it's delicious. There's a great recipe on Forks Over Knives for a green bean and pesto pasta dish. Delicious. My husband loves it. He is not vegan. Mustard is another great one. Tons of flavor and spice with mustard. So many different kinds of mustard. I think I've got pictures of all stuff, but I make a mushroom. Mushroom's a whole different food category, which I'll mention as well. But I make a mushroom stroganoff with the sauce is soy sauce and a little plant milk, mustard and nutritional yeast, some lemon juice, oat flour, so it sort of thickens a little bit, but it's that some smokiness from the soy sauce and the kick from the mustard, the nutritional yeast, and it's delicious. And I throw parsley on it, and very, very delicious comfort food. And then canned vegetables are always good to have. You can obviously buy dry beans, and someone was talking about cost earlier, and you know, dry beans are very, very, very reasonably priced. You can buy big bags of them, they keep for a long time, and you just soak them overnight, or you can cook them overnight in an Instant Pot. So you know, canned beans and veg, tomatoes, artichokes, and applesauce. I just added on there because I use unsweetened applesauce in baking. And also I make a kind of cranberry compote, and cranberries are very sour. They're really good for you, but they're very sour. So I use applesauce instead of sugar to sweeten things. So that's just kind of a starter kind of pantries. I mean, a lot of you probably have these things in your pantries already, spices and canned vegetables, but these are kind of like the backbone of a lot of plant-based cooking. Okay, so breakfast. Here are just some ideas for breakfast. Who eats oats or oatmeal or seriously? Oh my God, almost everybody. Okay, so that's fantastic. Oats are amazing, and they release energy kind of slowly, so they kind of tend to keep you going all morning. I find if I have oats for breakfast, I'm not really hungry until lunchtime. Especially if you add some chia seeds or some walnuts or whatever, you know, almonds and berries. So here you are already getting, if you're watching your daily dozen, you're getting, you know, the whole grain, you're getting your oats and some berries and there's a little bit of seeds and nuts. You're already crossing off a lot of these wonderful things on your list. And again, if you Google overnight oats, there are a million different ways to do it. Oh, you're adding cinnamon, it's great with oats. You're getting the spices in there. So that's a great way to start. I also love, I make my own granola because I like a bit of crunch. So I just toast it in the oven and I don't use any oil. So coconut oil, unfortunately, because it's nice, it would be a nice kind of crunch maker. And coconut oil is the only plant that has saturated fat, so that's really something to avoid if possible. And a lot of plant-based processed foods have coconut oil in them. Just something to bear in mind. Again, it's not totally evil, but it is just something to bear in mind if you're watching your cholesterol or your fat intake. So I make granola. I just use maple syrup or date syrup to kind of stick it together. And I just throw oats and seeds and nuts on a tray. Yes.
thoughts on local honey?
I mean, strict vegans, which I do not count myself among, strict vegans kind of say no to honey because it is made by animals. But, if I had an allergy, if I feel like a seasonal allergy, I'll eat a spoonful of local honey because I've heard it's good for counteracting allergies, so I'm not strict about honey. I mean, I prefer to use maple syrup or date syrup, but it's kind of it's a choice. But yeah, if you're eating local honey, that's definitely better for you than something on, the grocery shelf, for sure. So Ezekiel, has anyone tried Ezekiel bread? So Ezekiel bread you can get in most supermarkets. It's a little, what was you cardboard. It's not the most flavorful bread. It is a little dry, but it's very, very healthy. But you can put stuff on it that makes it, it's really just a carrier for what you're gonna put on it, so we're not using margarine. So you can, if you like savory, you can put hummus on it or avocado with some little sesame seeds or some chili flakes and some lemon juice and some parsley, and you can have fun with avocado toast. It's very popular at the moment. It's actually one of the things that I can always find in a restaurant, for a healthy breakfast option is avocado toast without the egg on top. Homemade jam or jelly. So I was looking at, you'll see a picture of my cranberry jam soon. I also just bought, so I'm a little lazy in the mornings when I get up, I just need to eat right away. But I just bought a pack of pancake mix from, it's a company called Plant Strong. I have this cookbook here somewhere. So it's Rip Esselstyn, who's the son of, there he is, Rip Esselstyn. He is the son of this very famous cardiologist called Dr. Esselstyn, who's popping up in all the plant-based documentaries you will watch. And so he is kind of continuing his father's work. He was a firefighter, and I think he's in the Game Changers movie. He basically takes a whole fire station of guys and puts them on this diet, and one of them has bad cholesterol and heart, great. Very likely to get horrible heart disease, so they all go on this plant-based diet, and so he is now also put out cookbooks, and he also has a line of a few little kind of healthy products, and one of them is pancakes. And I don't normally buy anything off the internet, but I thought, I'm going to try this pancake mix because I would love to have pancakes, but I'm too lazy to make my own. So they arrived in the mail. I made them, and they are definitely they don't taste like your average pancake, but the ingredients are phenomenal. It's like ancient grains and, anyway, it's all very healthy, but it looks like a pancake, and I just threw some maple syrup and some blueberries on it, and I was quite happy with it. And I knew that I was putting, nothing but like good ingredients in my body. So that was a nice option, but you can, if you're good at making pancakes yourself, there are hundreds of great recipes out there, including on the Forks Over Knives website. So pancakes, if you're feeling creative, Ezekiel toast, oats, and just fruit. I mean, sometimes I say to myself, why don't I just eat a banana and an apple and some berries for breakfast, because I do feel good when I just have fruit for breakfast. It doesn't happen very often. I usually have something more substantial because I tend to go to the gym and, I feel like I need the energy, but fruit, bananas are great. A lot of people like having smoothies because you can throw so many things. You make smoothies a lot like you can throw in your flax, you can throw in chia, you can throw in, I personally don't use like a protein powder anymore, because I just think I'd rather get it from the chia seed or the hemp seed or the flax seed. I'm not an extreme athlete, I'm getting plenty of protein just from the whole foods that I'm eating every day. But some people, fitness instructors, people who are really working at running marathons, maybe you want to add, there's plenty of plant-based protein powders out there. But personally, I don't think you need them, but if you think you do, go for it. Tofu scramble. Okay, so this is a new one for me, and I had heard about it, for 3 years, and I never made it. I made it for the first time last week, and I was very pleasantly surprised at how it came out. We'll see a picture of that in a minute. veggie burrito, so I sometimes go to the daily paper. And they have this, vegan burrito on the menu. It's really good, it's in a whole wheat wrap. And it's packed with spinach and peppers and, I don't know, it's great, and they serve it with a little dollop of guac. And a little fruit cup with berries and melon. That is an unbelievable breakfast. I mean, it's a lot, it's a huge burrito, but that, if you've got a big day ahead of you. And you can make that at home, of course you can make that at home, but it's nice to see some restaurants, offering really healthy options. So that was one of them. That's a good option for next time you're there. Okay, so this is my berry compote. Which I make a lot. So I have friends who own cranberry bogs, so I actually go cranberry harvesting. So I have this very strong affinity with cranberries. It's kind of my favorite thing about Cape Cod is the cranberry harvest. And I was very happy to learn from my good friend, Dr. Kumara, that they have phenomenal cancer fighting properties, as all berries do, antioxidants, but, and I sometimes I just threw in a bag of frozen mixed berries, because, the more the merrier. And it also helps to sweeten it a little bit. So I basically that's mostly cranberries with some mixed berries, I think even some cherries. There's one mixed bag that has dark cherries are really good for you too. And I just cook it up with some unsweetened applesauce. I throw in some lemon, because lemon rind has great health benefits as well. Citrus is great. And cinnamon, lots of cinnamon. And some water just to make sure it doesn't stick. And I just let that bubble away on the stove for about an hour. And then I eat it on a whole grain. This is actually my favorite bread. It's kind of a little bit of an indulgence, but it's a bread I used to find it at Whole Foods. Now they have it at Market Basket and Stop and Shop. It's called When Pigs Fly. And the only ingredient, it's from a bakery in Maine. And very, very few ingredients, just flour, and this one is cinnamon raisin and maybe some molasses in there or something. So that's kind of my treat, and there's a little bit of almond butter, very thin almond butter, and my cranberries and a little date syrup, and that is just, I could eat that every day, and just, it is delicious, because I like the tartness of the cranberries on the cinnamon toast.
Anke, where in Market Basket is that, right?
It's healthy.
It's nice.
Is it kind of on the end of an aisle on its own little stand?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In Whole Foods, it's with the bread. But I think at Market Basket and at Stop and Shop, it's on its own little stand at the end of an aisle. Oh, this to me, it's like an indulgence. This is like a healthy treat. Like, oh my God, I could eat this every day.
Yeah.
So, and I should really only have one slice.
And
but,
is that cinnamon raisin?
That's a cinnamon raisin version, yeah. And actually Ezekiel make a cinnamon raisin as well, and they make muffins. And that's sometimes in the frozen section.
Yeah, the English muffins.
Yes, the English muffins, they have cinnamon raisin as well, but you can always add more cinnamon on top.
Yeah, Market Basket carries them too in the
Yep.
freezer section.
Yep, I mean, they're popping up everywhere. So if you're more of a savory person, I tend to go for sweet in the morning. I mean, sweet, like the toast with the cranberries. If you are a savory person, so this is the tofu scramble that I made last week for the first time. Basically, you just take tofu, I always get the extra firm, and you just crumble it up. And you just put it in the pan, no oil. And the yellow color comes from turmeric. It also will dye, I mean, the turmeric, the yellow dye is so powerful, and a lot of my pots are now having like yellow discoloration in some of my wooden spoons, because I use a lot of turmeric, but I mean, I'd rather that, and get the health benefits. So that's basically just tofu with turmeric and black pepper and spinach, and I think there's some mushrooms and some hot sauce. That was the other condiment that I don't think I had it on the list, but hot sauce, fine, and some guac on Ezekiel toast.
You can also add black salt.
I've heard about this, yes. Do you
has
use
that-
it?
I haven't tried it yet, I bought it.
Okay.
It has that eggy taste to it.
Yes, I've heard about that. There's something called black salt. If you want more of an eggy flavor, I don't miss eggs at all, I have to say, but, if you want more of an eggy flavor, you can look into something called black salt. Where did you buy it? Online?
Believe it or not, at a whole, health food center and the health food store in Orleans.
Okay, oh yeah, I love that place, yeah. Okay, so, you know, and you can add any vegetables you like to that, but that was a satisfying breakfast, and my husband ate it too, and he enjoyed. Because it looks like egg, and I mean, anyway, and then you've got the protein from the tofu, so that was great. And then this is, these are these baked beans, and I took the recipe from Jean Schumacher. She has got, I mean, millions of recipes on her website. They are baked beans. This is black and kidney. I just use whatever I have in the pantry with molasses and, there's ginger. I think I had a ginger, but definitely garlic, onions, some Dijon mustard, and this stuff called liquid smoke, which gives them this beautiful smoky flavor without the bacon. And they are so delicious. I made these for the first time a couple of weeks ago. And they are, I mean, I could eat those every day. And then I just, you know, I'm always like beans and greens. So when in doubt, whenever I think, okay, what have I eaten today? What should I be eating today? What haven't I had yet? Beans and greens are the two things I try to eat every day, whether it's lentils or peas or beans. And as much kale and spinach as possible. And I cook my kale, I just sort of steam it. I just put it in like a non-stick pan with some water. And I add ginger and garlic, maybe a dash of soy sauce and some sesame seeds and some chili flakes. Just because that's how I like to eat it. You know, you can play, look, I couldn't eat this way if the food was bland. You know, I like flavor, so I'm always adding extra spices and herbs and flavor to everything, whether it's vinegar, mustard, you know, the soy sauce. I'm always adding flavor. I cannot eat bland food. It has to taste good. And I have been eating like this for 3.5 years, and I'm loving it because I just have been experimenting with all these flavors. Okay, so lunch and dinner, huge variety of choices. Stir fry is always a great option. You know, you can just throw in whatever vegetables you have to get rid of. You can buy bags of, you know, stir fry vegetables in the freezer section, many places. Whole wheat or lentil chickpea pasta with roasted vegetables or cooked vegetables, or however you like to prepare your vegetables. You can just have a whole wheat sandwich with hummus and sprouts and carrots and cucumber and lettuce, whatever, you know, just load it up. When I go to, you know, I was on the road this weekend with my younger daughter. She loves Subway. She gets the turkey sub with cheddar, and I just walk right past the meat and cheese, and they're like, "What are you having on your sandwich?" I said, I'm just gonna go straight to the salad section," and they just load it up with spinach and lettuce, tomato, cucumber, you know, olives, red onion, everything. You know, drag it through the garden is what I heard once in a restaurant at a burger place, like way back in the day. She said, "You want lettuce and tomato?" I said, "Yeah, all of it." She said, "Oh, I'll drag it through the garden." I love that phrase. So yeah, Subway, I just get a salad sub, basically.
Isn't that a veggie delight? That's called a veggie delight.
Is it called a veggie delight?
In the old days.
In the old
that's what
days.
it was. So I still ask for it, even if
Okay.
it's not on the menu.
But they
Veggie
don't put
delight,
cheese
and then
on
all
it?
the veggies.
Yeah, just every veg in the tray, everything, and they have guac there as well. So yeah, veggie delight at Subway. So it is, you know, and they have a whole grain roll there. It's probably not the best bread, but it, you know, it's better than the other alternatives. So there is always a way to kind of take the healthiest road when possible. I like to make bowls, so you know, I'll always cook a batch of brown rice or quinoa on the weekend, and then you can just add whatever beans or veg, you know, make a bowl. In the winter, I like to eat warm food with some hummus or with some guac or something to kind of give it a little bit of that texture. Baked potatoes, baked sweet potatoes are wonderful with salsa, with a vegetable chili. You could use a little bit of, you know, those vegan sour cream if you're missing that. I also, all summer, I just eat a huge loaded salad every day. And I usually use spinach or kale, or I buy the cruciferous crunch at Trader Joe's because it's a nice mixture of all the good stuff like kale and red cabbage and Brussels sprouts. But you can use whatever you have in the fridge, just again, variety. artichokes, beans, chickpeas, it's also really good to eat something, like fermented, like a sauerkraut or red cabbage for the probiotics. Kimchi, all those things are great for your gut biome. Vegetable chili. Now that the colder weather's coming, people love to make, soups. Again, like endless millions of recipes for great vegan soups. You can puree them if you like them smooth. I happen to like chunky kind of texture better than smooth, but I love it. Like carrot soup with ginger and you can put a little coconut milk in there. It's kind of tasty. Vegan lasagna. And a curry with coconut milk. So I do like to make red curries with like a chickpea curry, and I will use a little bit of coconut milk, but not every week, like sometimes. And there's reduced fat and whatever, but yeah, bear in mind that coconut does have saturated fat, but it's fine from time to time. Okay, so this is kind of the thing I usually have for lunch. So lots of balsamic vinegar and just carrots. This is, I think, a pickled red cabbage that I've been buying from Whole Foods. It has a little bit of like sesame in it. It's a little Asian pickled cabbage. I actually found it at the Boston Veg Fest that I went to. It's like a vegan festival in Boston. And it was like a small local producer. And I said, well, where can I buy this? On Cape. He said, oh, we have it at Whole Foods. So there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. With artichokes, chickpeas, banana peppers, carrots, arugula. This is actually some pear that was kind of a little overripe, so I just kind of sliced it into my salad with the skin, because as most of you probably know, a lot of the nutrients in fruit are on the skin, so always try to eat the skin. I mean, not citrus necessarily, although rind, a little bit of lemon or orange rind is great. Peppers, red onions, cruciferous crunch, and lime juice and the vinegar. So that's how to make your salads kind of fun. Oh, this is a squash curry. So I think I added some red curry paste. I don't remember if I had a recipe for this. There's, again, like millions of recipes out there. But all my veggie stews, I start with onion and ginger and garlic and some spices, and then I like to just throw it all in the pot, and I'll throw the kale in towards the end. But this one has some brown rice in it. So yeah, it's very easy to make, especially in the winter, for the comfort food, to make sort of one pot recipes, and you can just cook them on low, in your crock pot or instant pot, and you can make a large volume of it, and then you can freeze it. You can portion it out for the week. It's really a great way to make sure you're getting a nice plateful of nutrients in a kind of an easy way to prep, because you don't have to cook every meal individually. You can have that, for lunch one day and then dinner 2 days later or whatever. Oh, and this is just to show, this is how easy it can be. Like, you can just have a piece of whole wheat toast with hummus and a nice big salad. This was at a friend's house, and he said, oh, what do we have for lunch? And I said, well, she said, how does a salad sound? I thought, oh, great, and I'll bring some, this is actually sourdough bread and just some hummus. And a nice big salad, and there are actually strawberries in the salad. I mean, some people don't like fruit in a salad, but I don't mind it. It's nice. Red onion and tomatoes, and red onion, tomatoes, strawberries, and nice salad leaves. I think there might be a little olive oil on that, but that's okay. Wasn't going to look a gift horse in the mouth. This is my mushroom stroganoff, which is one of my favorite new dishes. And it's over the yellow lentil and brown rice spaghetti. And, I make it a little different every time, but, I'll mix some kale or spinach into it. It has onions and garlic and, some Dijon mustard. And I do have recipes for all these things, but basically I use Pinterest a lot. I go onto Pinterest and I just type in whatever I have ingredients for, whatever I feel like eating. I'll just type in, vegan mushroom stroganoff, and 1,000 recipes pop up. And then you can kind of skim, see what you have the ingredients for. I also always kind of improvise if I don't have a couple of things on the menu, on the ingredient list. I'll just kind of make up my own from what I have at home, and you can always cut out the oil or add a plant-based alternative if it's not a vegan recipe. But there's a lot of ways to veganize or I don't love the word vegan, but you know, to kind of make recipes that you enjoy now, to kind of make them plant-based, you know, like a vegetable lasagna, just, you know, using tofu instead of the meat, or I mean, there are just so many resources out there. You can see, I mean, I just brought a few of my books and recipe books. There are a lot of, you've probably seen the Forks Over Knives magazine popping up. And it is a little pricey. I think it's $12.99, but it is basically a recipe book. You know, I mean, there's no advertising. I don't know about any advertising. It's all just, it's very inspiring. Everything just looks so delicious. It's just packed with recipes, and there will be some, you know, there's some great information at the front, like questions. Is carbonated water as healthy as regular water? How long does cooked rice stay good in the fridge? So there's just a lot of interesting information, some interviews. Oh, and these are two of my favorite people. This is actually the wife and daughter of Dr. Esselstyn, and they are really fun cooks. They have a YouTube channel. They're really just vibrant and funny, and you know, mother-in-law cooking in the kitchen, and they have this great new. This one, by the way, well into her 80s, and they do, you know, immersion. They do camps, you know, at their farm or whatever. And this cookbook is great, with tons of sauces and salsas and some nice pictures. What's that? Grits and greens. Breakfast, you know, here we go, like oatmeal and berries, but with some lemon rind, you know, just some nice ideas. A lot of great information in here as well as recipes. So yeah, there are just lots of resources. If you're interested in just even kind of experimenting or trying, just try one plant-based recipe a week. You know, there's hundreds and millions of recipes out there and lots of great information. This is, yeah, it's kind of thing I eat every day. So this is some farro and kale, and I think I just added some beans to my squash curry. Yeah, and I just kind of heated that all up and just threw it in a bowl, and that was my lunch. Very filling, very satisfying, and packed with nutrients. And this is, so I roast a lot of vegetables, and again, I always used to put olive oil on them. Now I just roast them just with spices, and they come out just fine. You can kind of spray them with a little vegetable stock. They don't dry off or anything. It's totally fine. So that's the same kind of meal, but with some added roasted vegetables. And this is what I sent my husband into work with for the last 2 weeks. He's lost 10 pounds already. I mean, he has a lot to lose, but he's lost pretty quickly, but in a very healthy way, and it will slow down eventually. But you know, he's going to go for blood work next week, and I'm sure his cholesterol and his blood pressure have gone down. This is all without salt. It's just with spices. So yeah, farro. This is a chimichurri. It's like a spicy. I don't try this. I'm sure you can get it other places too. I happen to get mine there. Yeah, so lots of flavor, very filling. This is just a baked sweet potato with some vegetable chili with corn in it and some cilantro. And I think there's a little hummus under there as well. And I grew up eating baked potatoes in England. It was very popular. My mom used to make baked potatoes all the time. So for me, that's a real comfort food. And I just switched to sweet potatoes just because they have that little bit of extra nutritional benefit. And also the skin of sweet potatoes is really good for you. So just make sure you kind of scrub them before you bake them. This is, I think it's like the brown rice or farro with roasted veggies and asparagus. What's this? This is just another salad. Again, you can put grains on your salad. You know, that's a complete meal. That's with red cabbage, beets. Beets are really good for you. I don't know who likes, some people love them, some people hate them. I happen to love beets. And again, this is a good example of what we talked about in the first one, eating the rainbow. So the brighter the colors and the more variety, the better. Like that's just with Brussels sprouts, very cruciferous. Actually, arugula is a cruciferous vegetable, bless you. And edamame and carrots. The mint, I love fresh mint. That just gives it a whole new sort of dimension. And actually, the dressing on this one is a peanut, very similar to the dipping sauce I make it into a salad dressing as well, because I love the peanut with date and soy and lime juice and ginger and garlic. That's my favorite salad dressing. And it goes well with the edamame and all the rest of it. I could put it on anything. So yeah, lots of variety. Oh, and then on the right, which is my granola with some plant-based yogurt and dates. Yeah, almost a little bit burnt, but oops, that happens sometimes, yeah.
Do you make your own hummus?
Oh, yeah, I do, but not always. I mean, it is so easy to make your own hummus, and you can, without oil, and you can use the liquid that the chickpeas come in. The aquafaba is very good for many things. But yeah, you can throw in lemon and garlic and paprika, and very easy to make your own hummus in a blender. So this is kind of my go-to dessert, is just dates and fruit. And then this is, I think this was what your house was, I made, I just stuffed the dates with some almond butter and some little vegan dark chocolate chips. And you can, this, but for some reason, this is just a killer combination. It's so delicious. And you can freeze them, and it's kind of like the healthy alternative to a Snicker bar, because they're so chewy. Not good if you have dental issues, but I eat them just like this, it's fine, but that's a nice dessert option right there. There are also thousands of there's something called nice cream, which is like an ice cream alternative, like just using banana instead of dairy. And you can make like matcha nice cream, all these things. Yes.
Where do you get the vegan chocolate chips?
I mean, anything with a really high cacao content, like the dark chocolate, I don't think has any dairy in it, but I've bought them at where do I get mine? Whole Foods probably.
Whole Foods.
But I'm pretty sure that most supermarkets have
Stop and Shop have.
a vegan option. Yeah,
It's on it, it's right on the
It
cover.
says on
It's
it.
oat milk based, and it says on
Okay.
it.
Okay,
Enjoy life,
okay.
makes
Yeah,
a
they're
brand.
pretty, you should be able to find that the bigger supermarkets, definitely Whole Foods, I think Trader Joe's. But cocoa powder in itself is completely vegan, just the cocoa powder, so I often just use that in baking as well instead of the chocolate chip. Okay, so a lot of people ask about the whole no oil. In fact, that was the last thing that I cut out when I went vegan. The first year I went plant-based, I didn't understand this, like why no olive oil, because I had been raised, believing that olive oil was very healthy and an essential thing for us to have. And it does basically, as we said before, it's just 100% fat without the benefits of the fiber and the other nutrients. And it sludges the blood, basically. It just, I mean, like, Dr. Kamara says to me, he says, when you do the washing up and you're washing a pan that you use oil in, that's like a good lesson, like that's a good teaching moment, because that's basically what it's doing to your blood. It's so sticky. It sludges the blood in your arteries. So I mean, I just stopped using it and I don't miss it, and it's easy to cook without it, so why not? So I just use veggie stock or water. You can actually, if you want to learn more about and see like the diet, the videos and they're like the deep scientific, the argument behind it, you can go to nutritionfacts.org. There's a video about olive oil, and I mean, again, it comes back to the lobbying and the olive oil, producers put a lot of advertising money into making us believe we have to have it, and we really don't need it. I just use vegetable stock or water. And again, it's easy to steam and roast without oil, and I do have an air fryer, and that is a great way to cook without oil. And the broccoli, I put broccoli in there and it gets brown and crisp, and it's delicious. And then in baking, I use applesauce or syrup. And also flaxseed, if you mix it with water and let it sit for a bit, it makes this very kind of sticky, kind of egg-like consistency. So you're not getting the cholesterol, but you are getting the flaxseed nutrient benefit. So those are good substitutes. Yeah. But again, that's sort of doesn't have to happen immediately kind of thing. I mean, if you're still using olive oil, but you're eating loads more veggies and whole grains, you're still going to be doing yourself a favor. Like, this is not something that everyone is going to do overnight. I certainly didn't do it overnight either, and if I'm eating out, I'm still going to be eating a little bit of oil, but when I'm at home and I'm cooking myself, I try to avoid it. Okay, so, we talked about this a little bit already, like just trying to eat, huge variety, eat fruit and veg in season. We have some nice farmers markets on the Cape. A lot of people are also growing their own, which is fantastic. Frozen fruit and vegetable, very accessible. And then, you know, you don't have to like plunge into this overnight, but just kind of, you know, adding more vegetables and maybe substituting a few recipes a week, maybe just having some chicken or fish on the weekends, you know, try doing a few days of just plant-based and you will feel better. I mean, my husband says he feels so much better when he eats this way. He doesn't feel bloated, he has more energy, he sleeps better. So it's just, you know, why not give it a try? You know, it's going to benefit you across the board, you know, so I think I mentioned this last time, you know, going vegan is better for the animals, you know, and it's better for the environment, but going whole food plant-based is really about doing yourself a favor and taking your own health into your hands, you know, because there's so much you can do to benefit your own health just from what you put in your body every day and what you don't put into your body every day. So just, you know, give it a try and see how you feel. Just adding more fiber is going to benefit you. So this is, you know, we talked about how there are a lot of vegan, plant-based processed foods on the market. And fake meat is really not that good for you. I mean, it's loaded with all the additives and the sodium, but it's still better than eating a beef burger. You know, it's definitely better for the environment. But you know, people, it's a money-making thing. The food industry is always just trying to make money. And there are vegan chocolates, vegan yogurts. And they do, so I always get the plain unsweetened, has no sugar. And it does have the probiotics, has the live bacteria. There's a lot of vegan cheese on the market. You know, if you want to make pizza and you want that kind of melted effect, you know, you can, there are some brands which are fine. But again, that's a processed food, but it's fine from time to time. I don't feed that stuff every day. But there are a lot of additives that we're trying to avoid. What else do we have here? Oh, this is, I made a potato salad because I have German heritage. So I went to an Oktoberfest event recently and I wanted to bring a vegan, everywhere I go, I always bring a vegan food option and, you know, not like scary, ooh, what's in this, but it's very obvious, you know, what the ingredients are. It's all whole food. So this is potato salad with, I used a lot of Dijon mustard. And actually some other, I see the mustard with like the seeds in it, like a grainy mustard, and apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of plant-based yogurt, and some lemon juice, and lots of fresh herbs. And
Those capers in there?
It's pickles. Some little cornichon, but you could, capers would be great. I threw in some little chopped pickles, and you can throw in, again, I love to improvise, and I just kind of throw in whatever I have at home. But this was really tasty. No oil, no salt, but tons of flavor. And that was very popular at the party that I went to. And then I always know there's something there that I can eat. But yeah, that was delicious. Okay, so meal prep, because, you know, it is, you know, a little bit of work to eat this way. And I mean, any cooking at home is a little bit of work. So if you want to make it easy for yourself, you can meal prep. And I like to put aside a few hours on a Sunday afternoon or a rainy Saturday, whenever it is, whenever you have a couple of hours, even 1 hour. And I make a big batch of some kind of grain, farro or brown rice or quinoa. Do you do this?
Yeah.
Meal prep?
Yeah, not heavy duty like you are.
Well, no, I mean, I do it some weeks more than others. It kind of depends on how busy I am, but it really pays off. Yes.
I don't necessarily meal prep like you do, but I know for sure that I don't have a go-to meal in the fridge, and my family doesn't really eat it. That's fun. But if I don't have like a pot, something available, then I'll come home and just eat whatever's there, and I'm not eating plant-based things before I eat more processed foods. And so I've learned that even if I just when I'm coming to the end of my pot, I always have a stack of recipes I'm thinking about. I'll pick one that I have ingredients for and make another pot, and that way I just always have something to eat. I'm starving,
Right.
and much happier, and that I stuck to my plan. And I'm on task with the plant-based eating, because, I'm having high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and so I try to keep my mind fixed on why I'm doing this. Because I want to maintain my health and vitality, cognition as I age.
Yes.
I keep talking.
There you go. Thank you. And as Jean always says, if you fail to plan to fail. So that's like, I've heard that somewhere else as well, but basically, if you plan and you have all this great stuff in your fridge ready to go, you are much more likely to stick to it because, you're making it easy for yourself. Yes.
We do I make up two recipes at the beginning of the week.
Okay.
So it's a chili and a lasagna or whatever.
Okay.
And we eat those a couple of days and then I put them in the soup things in the freezer.
Uh-huh.
So we can always go into our freezer and pull out
Mhm.
whatever that works for us.
Right. So, yeah, and then it takes a little bit of prep work and planning, but it is so worth it because then you always have something healthy to reach for. And you might not want to eat your vegetable chili every day for the week. So, you eat it for a couple of days and then you freeze the rest. And then in a few weeks, I haven't had vegetable chili for a week. Here it is in my freezer. But, so I don't like make up the bowls like this on a Sunday night, but I have, a tub of rice or quinoa and a huge pot of beans. And then I always have some fresh veg and some condiments like a hot sauce or a chimichurri. So then every morning, I'll make this, one of these with my husband and I'll have my, salad. I mean, I'm at home, so I'll just make up my salad. I'm like, oh, I'll have some of this today and I'm gonna have some of this. I'm gonna heat up some beans. I'm gonna, cook up some kale or whatever it is. So it is really, really great if you can meal prep. Some people pre-chop salad ingredients. Again, it's just so easy to throw it all in the bowl if it's just sitting there ready to go. You can make some sauces or some salad dressings. And it's actually, I find it kind of satisfying and it makes you feel good if you know that you're gonna stay on track that week because you've already put in the effort to kind of prep your food. You can bake potatoes and sweet potatoes and then just heat them up. And it's actually, I find it very relaxing. You can put on some music or an audio book and it's, you just kind of get into the habit of doing it. Because if you don't do it, I mean, I find myself just kind of scrambling some nights or, my daughter plays volleyball, we don't go home till 8:30. And then if I don't have food prep, it kind of takes a long time to cook it. Although, quinoa only takes about 10-12 minutes to cook and farro is really quick to cook. So a lot of these things are actually easier to make than you would think. But yeah, it's nice to have something in the fridge or freezer ready to go. So these are just my roasted vegetables. I love fennel. That's on the top right is fennel. I just love that sort of aniseed flavor of fennel. And actually one of my favorite things to make in the summer is roasted veggies. I make this harissa dressing with chili and cumin, and I used to make it with feta cheese, sprinkled feta cheese, and now I buy the feta alternative at Trader Joe's. But yeah, just roasted veggie over couscous with a harissa, tomato, cumin, lime dressing. It's really delicious. My oldest favorite food. So yes, well, we have what time is it? Oh my gosh, 11:15. So I should probably wrap up. But this is just I roast chickpeas in the oven with spices, with cayenne and cumin and turmeric, and it just makes them a little crunchy. It's really nice to throw that over your salad. On the left is just some fruit. And then just quickly, eating out, is difficult for a lot of people because a lot of the restaurants, not just in this country, I'm not vilifying America, I'm just saying lots of restaurants in the West do have a lot of food that is bad for us. All the advertisements we see on TV, all food, like it's all loaded with butter and salt and lots of unhealthy things. So because I say master the art, because I've done so much plant-based cooking at home in the last 3 weeks, especially because I started during COVID and we weren't eating out, I was cooking everything at home. If I go out to eat now and I'm paying, everything feels so expensive. If I'm eating for a meal out, I want to go and eat something really special that I can't make better at home. So I don't really want to go and pay $20 for some kind of boring salad that I know I can make a much better salad at home. So I tend to go to Asian restaurants. I feel like that's the best, easiest place for me to stick to my kind of healthy eating, plant-based eating, because Thai, there's a lot of tofu. You can ask for brown rice. You can ask them to hold the fish sauce, the little Thai, the Bangkok kitchen in Hyannis, they cook everything to order. So I just say, hold the oil and the fish sauce. And I get the brown rice and they steam the tofu because very often if you just order tofu, it comes fried. Just, it's delicious, but, time to time, that's fine. But, I asked for it steamed, and that was something I learned from Dr. Siddhartha as well, is that you just ask for it steamed. And, they have just any dish that you can get with tofu instead of chicken or shrimp.
Yeah.
So Thai is great. Japanese, like the saga fusion here, I get the sweet potato sushi or the avocado peanut sushi with the dark rice. It's almost purple and it's really amazing, the brown rice there. And it comes with a little miso soup, the lunch special with a little miso soup with tofu and a little salad with a ginger miso dressing. That's $14 for the whole meal. It's really saga fusion. Saga fusion. There's one in the Mills just before the Stop and Shop on 28, and there's one in Yarmouth. And they have these lunch specials where you get any 2 rolls and they come with a miso soup and a salad. That's my favorite treat to go with. So yes, there's always a brown rice option at these, usually at the Asian restaurants. And then at parties and events, I always just bring my own dish. And then I know there's something that I can eat, or I'll bring like a big vegetable platter with hummus or, some crackers and a dip. And it's also just a nice way to introduce other people to a plant-based way of eating. I mean, I've had events at my house, and I'll say, oh, this is a, I don't call it vegan salad. I say this is a, salad. And my friends say, oh, is this vegan? I said, yeah, but it's a salad. I mean, it's not like it's got some weird vegan ingredient. It's just salad. Things you've eaten before. It's not like some, it's not from a different planet. It's just cutting out the animal product, So, oh my gosh, this is vegan sushi. Alyssa was with me in Montreal when we went to visit my daughter, and my daughter had found this vegan sushi place. And it was just nice knowing that everything on the menu, I could just order anything I wanted from the menu. And it was, exquisite. This was just amazing. There's like beets and mango and avocado. It was just so beautifully presented and everything was just delicious. So there are vegan restaurants popping up. Yeah, everything about this place was just amazing. So there are vegan restaurants. There are a couple on the Cape. There's something called Fair and Just in Brewster. But I think it's very seasonal and the opening hours are a little erratic. And then there's Bread and Roses, which is on Main Street. That's more vegan than whole food plant-based, but everything there is vegan. And they've just added some new bowls to their menu. Yeah. This is at the Bangkok Kitchen. This is steamed tofu. I think this was the ginger. I think this is fresh ginger, little strips of fresh ginger. Mushrooms. So mushrooms are in a whole category of their own, and they are. It's not really a plant, it's not really an animal, but they have amazing health benefits. They have, I believe they have like estrogen suppressant. Anyway, they're very good for. In Japan, where there is a very low rate of breast cancer, they've attributed it to mushrooms, soy, and green tea. So, and I happen to love mushrooms, so I'm happy to eat them. So that's at the Bangkok Kitchen. That's delicious. Yum. This was at a Vietnamese restaurant. I was in Germany, and this was just amazing. With some kind of tiny, like a tom yum, some kind of soup with I don't know what's floating around in there. I think lemongrass and cilantro and herbs. And this was a mango salad with bean sprouts and onion. This was just so delicious. That was my favorite food, my favorite meal out this year. Unfortunately, a little too far to travel every week. So this is my take on the Vietnamese rolls, and these are sitting out here. So I would love you to go help yourselves. So this is just rice paper wraps with the tofu, cucumber, carrot, red cabbage, and some mint. So again, this just requires a little bit of chopping. You can buy these rolls, these wraps, in Stop and Shop or Shaw's in the Asian aisle, and you just soak them in a bowl of water, and they soften. It's like hard rice paper, and you just soften them in water, And then you just put whatever you want in the middle. And you just roll it up.
Okay, how do you prepare the tofu? Do you air fry the tofu?
I air fry it, yeah,
Air fry. it.
yeah.
Okay.
And you can marinate it,
Mm.
you know, and sort whatever. I
I
mean,
get plain.
all the flavor comes from the dipping sauce. It's really all about the peanut dipping sauce. So please, if you have peanut allergy, don't go anywhere near that, 'cause it's peanut butter, date syrup, soy sauce, lime juice, ginger, garlic, little chili, and sesame seeds.
Mm.
But yeah, this is just a fun way to just get your veggies with a little.
Do you press that tofu?
No, I just buy the extra firm and throw in the air fryer. I'm too lazy to do that. I don't know, there's ways of like pressing to get all the liquid out. I've found out that the air fryer does all the work for me.
Yes.
So there we go. Oh, this is Thai green curry with tofu.
Mm.
I had last week
Ooh.
after apple picking. I said to my daughter, I said, find me a Thai restaurant because I know there's something there I can have.
Mm.
Yeah, that was delicious with green beans and zucchini and lots of Thai basil, which I found at Market Basket recently, a big bag of, I thought I would have to go to that amazing Asian supermarket in Quincy, but they have it at Market Basket. Edamame in the pod, that's like my favorite new snack. And I think this was a bowl at Kava in Derby Street. Has anyone been there? You can make, so it's like like a chipotle where they have, all the ingredients in front of you and you can choose your base. Any kind of green, so I chose the power greens. And then you can choose your protein, and I didn't even get a falafel, but they have falafel, they have, chickpeas and beans. And then all the salad toppings, the pickled onions, and they had 2 oil-free dressings, they had tahini, 2 different tahini dressings. And again, this is like I think I had black lentils for my protein. Black lentils. And then all the veg, like cauliflower, like roasted vegetables, it's amazing. And I mean, I think this was 12 or 14, maybe 12 or $14. But this is a huge bowl of food and really filling and very satisfying and packed with goodness. So I recommend Kava, that was fun. This was a Market Basket. I thought this was so cute. I love that. Eat your greens. That's basically, we hear it all the time, but there's a lot of wisdom to it. This is just kale with, soy sauce and ginger and garlic. My favorite 2 greens, edamame and beans and greens. And now this is Dr. Kumara here. So this is an event. This is my friend Kaylin coming to the first talk. So Kaylin was the one who started me on this whole journey because she's a fitness instructor in the gym. She was teaching out when COVID hit. She did this nutrition kind of challenge, fitness nutrition challenge to keep us focused during COVID. And she suggested we watch The Game Changers, the documentary. And that was what kind of kickstarted my whole plunge into veganism and whole food eating. So without knowing it, she's the one who started me on this. And she came to my house almost every Friday during COVID. She was one of the only people I saw during COVID. And I would make her a salad, because she thought salad's really boring. It's just lettuce and tomato. And I said, oh, no. So I kind of introduced her. I don't think she'd ever eaten avocado before. I had a chickpea on the salad before. So now she calls it the Anke lunch. She's like, when am I coming for Anke lunch? So yeah, we have a lot of fun. She loves food. She's still, she's still doing the protein, salmon or chicken, whatever, but she loves all of the stuff that I make for her. So we then did a little yoga and whole food plant-based event at my house. And you can see like a lentil salad. I like making lentil salad in the summer with lots of vinegar and red onion and parsley, just cold lentils. Then there's a multi-bean salad with tomatoes and corn. It looks like this lettuce in a minute. Anyway, homemade tahini and lemon dressing, quinoa, peppers, all the different toppings, broccoli, great, artichokes, pumpkin seeds. So we did a little yoga, and then we had this nice little food session afterwards. We talked a little bit about whole food plant-based eating. So yeah, there we are, enjoying our food. That's what we like to do. We're always talking about food and cooking and.
pants, yeah.
Oh yeah, I almost wore those today, but they're in the laundry. But yeah, I have avocado pants. My favorite, and this is just, okay, so Pizza Barbone, my older daughter, actually both my daughters bought Pizza Barbone, they have a vegan cheese, they have a vegan option, and it's with, it's a pistachio pesto. And with arugula, it is to die for, so that's kind of a little treat. And this is harvesting kale at Kaylin's grandmother's house, she has an unbelievable garden, so we went and harvested kale and lettuce at her grandmother's house. So yeah, that is basically it. That's how I eat, and it's just to show you that it's very easy to incorporate more plants and vegetables and whole grains into your diet, and you can do it very gradually. You can do it a little bit more full on, but it's really any vegetables and fruit and whole grains you can add to your diet. It will benefit you across the board. And the next talk is going to be about disease prevention and healing. So we did touch on that in the first talk, but really the power of plants is really that they can prevent a lot of the most common chronic diseases like diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Even like dementia is linked with diet, and so many ways that eating more plants will benefit you across the board. And it's delicious. So any questions?
It always looks so good.
Oh, yeah, well, so please, so I've made the Vietnamese rolls, and I've also made some quinoa and some chickpea stew. Now in the chickpea stew, there is ginger, garlic, turmeric, onions, herbs, kale, and it's one of my favorite dishes. I could eat that every day. So I made that, and yeah, please help yourself. And then what did you bring? Some little protein bars?
Protein power balls.
Okay, perfect. Delicious dessert.
Dessert.
Yeah, so help yourselves.